Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. Today I got something sweet for you. We're doing the 500 round review of the Shadow Systems CR920P, the compensated version. I apologize it took this long. Having two kids, both under 4, it's incredibly hard to get away, to get to the range, to actually put rounds through weapons when there's two kids. It was much easier to do when I had one. Now I have two. So it took some time. Not to mention I'm a teacher. We are on summer vacation right now. So we have been, every single weekend, we've been going somewhere on vacation. It sounds awesome. With two kids under 4, it really is. Sometimes I need a vacation for my vacation. Let's just say that. But anyway, let's get into this review. I want to start off this review with some range footage, so here we go.
Here, pull it in. Pull in the target so you can see what you did. That was definitely that guy.
Before we get into this review, I just want to have a little disclaimer. I did not lube this gun. I did not clean this gun through the full 500 rounds. I wanted to give it just the same treatment as I would one of my Glocks, because my Glocks, I swear, I don't clean for like the first 700 rounds and it runs just fine. So that did happen. I did not clean it. I did not lube it as I was going through this round of 500. What happened? Okay, first of all, let's talk about what everybody wants to talk about, malfunctions. I did have one malfunction, and I'm going to be completely honest with you. I want to be 100% honest with all of my subscribers. I did have one malfunction here, and it was not a failure to eject like all the other ones. It was actually a failure to go into battery with the new round. It ejected the round. It didn't go all the way into battery. I noticed that the front part was open just a tiny bit, just a little bit. And I even bumped it the back forward to try to get that slide to go into battery, and I couldn't do it. I still had a dead trigger when I was going through it. And I still had rounds in the magazine, so I know I was only like my 3rd shot out of 10. So what I ended up having to do is I had to completely rack that round out of the gun. A new round went in, it went into battery, and the next 6 rounds were flawless. I don't know if that was me not cleaning it. I don't know if it was a bad bullet, or I don't know if it was 100% the gun's fault. My guess is because their tolerances are so tight, you probably have to clean and lube this thing like crazy for it to run correctly, would be my guess, and I did not do that. I only used the factory lube that was on there and the factory cleaning that was on there through the 500 rounds, and I did have that one malfunction. So that could have been the case there. The rest of the time, I did not have any malfunctions whatsoever, and that is kind of what I expected. So I had those 3 or 4 at the beginning. I had one failure to go into battery, and that was it. The rest of the time, it was flawless. This thing shot incredibly well still. I was hitting, I'd say, fist size at about 7 to 10 yards, which is kind of the distance I'm planning on going with this gun. You can hit this out to distance. I was hitting this gun out to distance absolutely no problem. One thing when I was firing that I noticed that you have to do with this gun is you really have to make sure you vise that gun together because it is small. Okay, the stronger I was pushing my palm and my top of my hand here in together and vising it together, the flatter it shot. Okay, you can't hold this gun all loosey-goosey when you're trying to shoot. Okay, really make sure you're vicing that gun together and making quality trigger pulls, and this gun will shoot as flat as can be. And that's kind of the reason I like it, is because it is small and it is not snappy. That's the biggest thing you see with these smaller guns, is they kind of feel snappy. Like my 43X, my P365, they all felt incredibly snappy in my hand. I have not had this problem with this gun. Now, granted, the barrel is longer than, let's say, a 43X and a P365 because of the compensator. I absolutely love it in terms of accuracy and felt recoil. This thing feels amazing when you are shooting it. The one con that I have with this firearm was the trigger. Now, I was only having this con after about 200 to 300 rounds of shooting this firearm. Okay, so if you're not planning on shooting this, if you're only using this for defense and you're only going to shoot, obviously when you're in a self-defense situation, you're only going to fire like, what, 8 to 10 rounds. You're not going to have this problem. But I was starting to feel this trigger shoe at the bottom was really digging into the bottom of my finger. That pointed part of the shoe right there was really pinching into, when that compressed down, that was pinching the bottom part of my finger, and it was kind of annoying. I tried to bring my finger up higher in the trigger, and it just made the trigger pull a little bit heavier. So you kind of got to be careful when you start manipulating where you're on the trigger you're putting your finger. And let's be honest, this trigger is freaking tiny. So my huge finger, I really don't have a choice on where I put my finger on the trigger. I'm not going to change the trigger because of that issue. I really haven't noticed the trigger pull lightening up at all after 500. I feel like that's going to be more around 1,000 rounds is where that trigger pull really starts to lighten up. It's kind of still feels, let me see. Yeah, it still feels the same that it did when I first got it. Yeah, it still feels the same. So I don't think it really lightened up after 500 rounds. This slide locked back every single time. And I am so happy about that with this firearm. I've never had a small firearm like this lock back every single time. I always ride that slide stop, slide release. I always ride it, and it never locks back on the last round. For some reason, I don't know what they did, if they moved it forward just a touch, but it's locked back every single time. And I am so impressed with this firearm on being able to do that, because that is a big pro for me, is a small gun locking back, because I want to know if my magazine is empty. I don't want to hear that click after I've gone through all 10 rounds or all 13 rounds. Okay, because that's bad. If I have to reload and I hear the click, well, I just wasted valuable seconds in a gunfight. I absolutely love this gun. I'm falling more and more in love with this gun every time I shoot it. It is a great shooter. It ran through this 500 rounds exactly how I expected it to. If you are looking to pick one of these up, I am officially going to give the okay to pick one of these up. This gun is fantastic. It seemed like they fixed all of their issues that they had with the CR920. The only problems I'm having is because my hands are so big, and that's it. And honestly, those are negligible. I've had people in the comments saying they got trigger slap and all this stuff. I do not see that with this firearm. I can fire this gun fast, slow, it doesn't matter. I am not feeling trigger slap or anything like that. The only issue I'm having with my big hands is, first of all, the trigger. Second of all, it just doesn't have any back straps on there. I'm thinking about putting some tape around the grip to see if I can widen this frame a little bit for my big hands. I'm going to see if that works. I mean, that's kind of going to negate the Talon grips I put on there. But the trigger pull is the most important thing for me, and it seems when I pull this trigger, my finger is kind of squished. When I pull it all the way back, it's like going past 90 degrees, and everybody on my channel knows I hate going past 90 degrees when I'm doing a trigger pull. I want to break right at 90 degrees, and that's what I'm going to try to get with this gun. That's kind of my next project with this gun, to see if I can widen this grip a little bit. If anybody out there knows a good way to widen this grip, I don't want to put Hogue grips or anything like that on here. I just want to widen this grip. And I believe I believe grip tape is the best way to go to kind of widen this grip. One of the guys I was watching, not with this firearm, but with another firearm, he's saying something about goon tape. If anybody's ever heard of goon tape and has used goon tape before, let me know if that works, if I want to widen the back of this firearm at all. Shadow Systems CR920P, highly recommended here from Michigan Dad. Remember to train hard, get strong, be a protector. If no one said they love you today, I love you guys. God bless you all.